The white sundress cost 3 paychecks. Jael knew this because she'd counted every shift, every exhausted night at Manhattan Memorial, before hitting purchase. Celebrating her promotion alone in Central Park seemed pathetic now, especially with muddy paw prints streaked across silk like accusations. Max, down. The man sprinting toward her had the kind of face that belonged on magazine covers. Sharp jaw. Eyes like winter sky. The chocolate lab bouncing at his heels had zero awareness of the destruction he'd caused. I'm Keton Forrester. He was breathless, leash tangled in his fingers. Please. Let me pay for the dress. It's fine. No. His voice dropped lower. It's really not. Jael should have walked away. Should have taken the money and disappeared into the crowd. But Max rolled onto his back between them, tongue lolling, and something in her chest cracked open. He's beautiful, she heard herself say. He's a menace. But Keton's expression softened. 9 months old. Still learning. I grew up with Goldens. The words felt dangerous. Personal. 3 of them. Keton tilted his head, studying her. You miss it. Not a question. A statement that saw too much. Every day. Jael crouched, scratching Max's belly. The dog groaned with pleasure. My work schedule makes it impossible. What do you do? Pediatric physical therapy. Something flickered across Keton's face. Recognition? Respect? Before she could name it, he spoke again. Let me buy you coffee. Please. It's the least I can do. The cafe smelled like espresso and rain-soaked concrete. Max sprawled under their table, exhausted from his earlier chaos. Jael wrapped her hands around the mug, letting warmth seep into her palms. Forrester Industries, Keton said when she asked about his work. Sustainable energy development. Fulfilling? He blinked. Most people ask about revenue. I'm not most people. No. His smile was slow, devastating. You're not. They talked for hours. About broken legs and physical therapy. About fathers who died too young and legacies built from grief. Jael learned that Keton started his company at 25, that he still missed his dad every single day, that he hated galas but attended them anyway. Speaking of which. Keton's fingers drummed against his cup. I have tickets to a charity event Friday. Medical services for underserved communities. Would you come with me? Jael's pulse kicked up. I don't have anything to wear. Let me handle it. No. She met his eyes. I'll find my own dress. His smile widened. Fair enough. They exchanged numbers as the sun dipped below Manhattan's skyline. Jael stood to leave, her ruined dress forgotten, her heart doing something stupid and reckless in her chest. Next time, Keton called after her, I promise Max won't assault your clothing. She laughed, walking backward. I'll hold you to that. But as she turned the corner, phone buzzing with his first text already, Jael couldn't shake the feeling that she just stepped into something far more dangerous than a charity gala. The dress she chose for Friday was emerald green. Simple. Elegant. Expensive enough to hurt. Her roommate Hannah whistled when she emerged. Hot date? Charity event. With the dog guy? Hannah's grin was wicked. The one you've been texting all week? Jael's phone lit up. Keton's name on the screen. Picking you up in 20. Fair warning, I clean up okay. She typed back, so do I. The knock came exactly 20 minutes later. Jael opened the door and forgot how to breathe. Keton stood in the hallway wearing a tuxedo that probably cost more than her car. His hair was swept back, his jaw freshly shaved, and when he saw her, his expression did something that made her stomach flip. You look stunning. You're not so bad yourself. The gala was held at the plaza. Crystal chandeliers. String quartets. Women in diamonds that could fund Jael's student loans twice over. She felt immediately, overwhelmingly out of place. Katan's hand found the small of her back. Stay close to me. They moved through the crowd, Katan introducing her to people whose names she recognized from Forbes covers. Everyone wanted a piece of him. Everyone had an agenda. But his attention never wavered from her. You're good at this, she murmured during a lull. At what? Making people feel like they matter. His jaw tightened. Only when they do. The ballroom hushed as the keynote speaker took the stage. A woman in her 60s, gray hair pulled back, voice sharp with authority. Tonight, we honor those who dedicate their lives to healing, she began. Who see patients as people, not profit margins. Jael felt Katan tense beside her. The woman continued. I'm Dr. Ellen Forrester, and 15 years ago, my husband died fighting for accessible healthcare. Tonight, we continue his mission. Jael's blood went cold. Katan. Her voice barely worked. That's your mother. He didn't look at her. Yes. You didn't mention she ran this foundation. You didn't ask. The temperature between them dropped 20 degrees. Jael pulled away, but Katan's hand caught her wrist. Jael, wait. Did you know? Her throat burned. Did you know I work with underserved kids? That I've spent my entire career fighting the same battles your mother champions? His silence was answer enough. This wasn't random, was it? She felt sick. The park. The coffee. This gala. You researched me. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Katan? She yanked her arm free. Because right now, it feels like I'm some kind of project. A charity case you're adding to your portfolio. That's not fair. Fair? Her laugh was jagged glass. You lied to me. I never lied. His eyes blazed. I just didn't tell you everything. Same thing. She turned to leave, but his next words stopped her cold. My mother's dying. Jael froze. Katan's voice cracked. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe less. This foundation is her legacy, and I'm trying to find someone who understands what it meant to my father. What it means to her. He stepped closer. I saw your name on a donor list. Read about your work. Thought maybe you'd want to help. And yes, Max jumping on you was an accident, but asking you to coffee? His voice dropped to something raw and honest. That was desperation. Jael's heart was breaking and racing at the same time. Why didn't you just tell me? Because everyone wants something from me. His hand lifted, fingers hovering near her cheek. And for one afternoon, I wanted someone to see me. Not my money. Not my name. Just me. The ballroom glittered around them. His mother's voice echoed from the stage. And Jael stood at a crossroads she hadn't seen coming. I need air, she whispered. She walked out onto the terrace, Manhattan spreading below like fallen stars. Katan followed. I'm sorry, he said. For all of it. Jael turned to face him. Your mother has 6 months. Give or take. And you thought I could help. I thought you'd understand. The wind picked up, lifting her hair. I do understand. That's the problem. He moved closer. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, feel the heat radiating off his skin. What do we do now? He asked. Jael's phone buzzed. Hannah's name flashing, emergency at the hospital. Kid from your unit. Needs you. She looked up at Katan. At this beautiful, broken man who'd orchestrated their meeting but couldn't fake the way he looked at her. "I have to go," she said. "Work emergency." "I'll drive you." "No." She touched his chest, felt his heart hammering. "But call me tomorrow. If you still want to." "I will." She started to walk away, then stopped. "Katan? Next time you want something from me, just ask. I'm tougher than I look." His smile was sad and hopeful at once. "I'm starting to realize that." Jael left him standing in the Manhattan night, her emerald dress trailing behind her like a question mark. She didn't know if she'd see him again. She didn't know if she wanted to. But as her phone buzzed with his text, "Tomorrow. I promise," she realized the answer was already yes. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. Jael burst through the pediatric wing doors at midnight, still wearing her emerald gown, and found 7-year-old Marcus in bed 3, crying because his new prosthetic leg wouldn't cooperate. "Hey, superhero." She knelt beside him. "Let's figure this out together." 2 hours later, Marcus was sleeping peacefully. Jael sat in the break room, mascara smudged, dress wrinkled, texting Katan back finally. Crisis averted. "Sorry for disappearing." His response came instantly, "Don't apologize for saving kids." "Coffee tomorrow?" "Yes." They met at the same cafe. Max was better behaved this time, sitting politely at Katan's feet while they talked. About everything. About nothing. About the strange, terrifying thing growing between them that neither could name. "My mother wants to meet you," Katan said carefully. Jael's coffee went cold in her hands. "Why?" "Because I told her about you." He looked vulnerable. "Young." "Because she asked who made me smile like an idiot at my phone." "Katan. I know it's fast." He reached across the table. "I know we just met. But she doesn't have time for slow." Jael thought about her own mother. Alive. Healthy. Taking time for granted. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll meet her." Dr. Ellen Forrester lived in a penthouse overlooking Central Park. The irony wasn't lost on Jael as she stood in the elevator beside Katan, watching the floors climb. "She's direct," Katan warned. "Don't take it personally. I work with kids. Direct is my language." But nothing prepared Jael for the woman who answered the door. Thin as paper. Eyes sharp as scalpels. Alive in a way that defied the death sentence growing in her pancreas. "You're younger than I expected," Ellen said, shaking Jael's hand. "You're exactly what I expected," Jael replied. Ellen's laugh was surprised, delighted. "I like her already, Katan." They sat in a living room lined with medical journals and family photos. Ellen served tea with hands that trembled slightly. Katan hovered, protective, until his mother waved him away. "Let me talk to her alone." "Mom. Go walk Max. Give us 20 minutes. Katan looked at Jael. She nodded. He left reluctantly, door clicking shut behind him. Ellen's gaze turned predatory. "My son thinks I don't know what he's doing," she said. "Recruiting you for the foundation." Jael's stomach dropped. "He told you?" "He didn't have to." Ellen sipped her tea. "I've been running this organization for 15 years. I know when someone's being courted for the board. I'm not qualified." "You're exactly qualified." Ellen leaned forward. Pediatric physical therapist. Published researcher. Advocate for accessible care. You're everything we need. But that's not why Katan brought me here. Silence stretched between them. Ellen's expression softened. "No. He brought you here because he's falling in love with you, and he wants my approval before he admits it to himself." Jael's heart stopped. "I'm dying, Jael." Ellen's voice didn't waver. And my son has spent the last 6 months trying to fix it by fixing everything else. His company. My foundation. His own loneliness. You're not a project. You're a lifeline. I don't know if I can be that for him. I'm not asking you to be. Ellen's smile was sad. I'm asking you to be honest. With him and yourself. Because Catan deserves someone who chooses him. Not his mission. Not his grief. Him. The door opened. Catan walked in with Max, took one look at them, and froze. Did she scare you off yet? He asked Jael. Not yet, Jael replied. But her voice shook. Dinner was easier. They talked about the foundation's work, Jael's research, Ellen's plans for expansion. Catan watched them both like he was memorizing the moment. I want you on the board, Ellen said over dessert. Not as Catan's girlfriend. As yourself. Jael set down her fork. I need to think about it. Fair enough. Ellen stood, swaying slightly. Catan was beside her instantly. I'm tired. You two should go. They said their goodbyes. In the elevator, Catan was quiet. She likes you, he finally said. I like her too. But? Jael turned to face him. But I need to know what we're doing here, Catan. Are we dating? Are we colleagues? Are you trying to save your mother by saving me? The elevator doors opened. Street noise rushed in. Catan pulled Jael into the lobby, into a corner shadowed by marble columns. I'm terrified, he said. Of losing her. Of screwing this up. Of wanting you so badly it makes me stupid. His hands framed her face. I didn't plan this. Any of it. But I'm not sorry it happened. Jael's breath caught. I'm not sorry either. He kissed her. Soft at first, then desperate. She tasted like hope and danger, and Catan was drowning in it. When they broke apart, Jael was shaking. Take me home, she whispered. They barely made it through her apartment door. Clothes scattered. Hands frantic. They fell into her bed like casualties of war, seeking comfort in skin and heat and the fleeting promise of not being alone. Afterward, Catan held her in the dark. Stay, Jael murmured against his chest. Always. But morning brought reality. Jael woke to find Catan on her balcony, phone pressed to his ear, voice sharp with business. I don't care what the board says. We're not cutting the accessibility program. He turned, saw her watching. His expression shifted. Softer. Guilty. I have to go to Seattle, he said after hanging up. 3 days. Board meeting. Okay. Come with me. Jael laughed. I have patience, Catan. A job. Right. He looked lost. Of course. She crossed to him, wrapped her arms around his waist. 3 days isn't forever. It feels like it. He left that afternoon. The apartment felt emptier without him. Jael tried to focus on work, on Marcus and the other kids who needed her. But her phone buzzed constantly with Catan's texts. Miss you. Board meeting is hell. Thinking about that thing you did with your tongue. She grinned despite herself. On day 2, Ellen called. Lunch? The older woman asked. Without my son hovering? They met at a French bistro in Midtown. Ellen looked friendlier than before, but her spirit burned bright. He's serious about you, Ellen said over wine. More serious than I've seen him about anyone. It scares me, Jael admitted. How fast this is moving. Love doesn't follow timelines. Ellen's gaze turned distant. His father proposed after 3 weeks. Everyone said we were crazy. We had 43 beautiful years. But you had time. We had enough time. Ellen reached across the table. That's all anyone gets. Enough time to matter. Jael felt tears building. I don't want to lose him. Then don't let fear decide for you. But fear was already there. Growing. Taking root. That night, Hannah found Jael crying in the kitchen. Talk to me, Hannah demanded. I think I'm falling in love with him. That's good, isn't it? His mother's dying. His company consumes his life. And I'm supposed to what? Fix it? Join his foundation? Become part of his perfectly curated world? Hannah poured wine. Or maybe you're supposed to just love him. Messy and imperfect and real. Jael's phone buzzed. Katan's face on the screen. She let it ring. I can't do this, she whispered. But she called him back an hour later, because not hearing his voice hurt worse than the fear. Hey, he answered. You okay? No. Honesty felt like stepping off a cliff. Are you? Silence. Then, no. We need to talk. When you get back. Jael. His voice cracked. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything. I just need to know what we want. Really want. I want you. For how long? The question burned. Until your mother dies? Until the grief passes? Until the next crisis? Forever, you idiot. He sounded angry now. Hurt. I want you forever. Jael closed her eyes. I'll see you when you get home. She hung up before he could respond. Day 3 arrived with Seattle news. Katan's face plastered across business networks. Forrester Industries announcing a massive merger. Billions in play. His mother's foundation receiving unprecedented funding. Jael watched the press conference from her couch. Katan in a suit, fielding questions with practiced ease. This was his world. Boardrooms and power plays and money that could change lives with a signature. What was she doing here? Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Jael King? A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. This is Victoria Chen, head of PR for Forrester Industries. We need to talk about your relationship with Katan Forrester. Jael's blood turned to ice. Excuse me? It's come to our attention that you're seeing Mr. Forrester. We'd like to arrange a meeting. Discuss optics. Messaging. How to present this to the public. Present what? Your relationship. We can't have another situation like last time. Last time? Victoria's laugh was sharp. He didn't tell you about Rebecca? Of course he didn't. The room tilted. Who's Rebecca? His ex-fiancée. She tried to sell their story to the tabloids. It was a nightmare. We need to ensure you understand the NDA requirements before this goes any further. Jael hung up. She sat in silence. Staring at nothing. Processing. Then she called Hannah. I need you to search someone. Rebecca something. Katan's ex. Hannah's fingers flew over her laptop. Found her. Rebecca Ashford. Wow. She's gorgeous. What happened? According to page 6, they were engaged 2 years ago. Called it off suddenly. She gave an interview calling him emotionally unavailable. Obsessed with his work. Jael felt sick. There's more, Hannah said quietly. She claimed he used her. That he courted her because her father sat on the board of a company he wanted to acquire. The words landed like bullets. Jael's phone buzzed. Katan calling. She didn't answer. He called 12 more times that night. She ignored everyone. Catan showed up at her apartment at midnight. Jael opened the door in pajamas, eyes red, walls already built. You wouldn't answer my calls. He looked wrecked. 3-day scruff. Rumpled clothes. I took the red eye back. Go home, Catan. Not until you talk to me. She stepped aside. Let him in because her neighbors didn't need the show. He stood in her living room like he didn't belong there anymore. Maybe he never did. Who's Rebecca? Jael asked. Every muscle in his body went rigid. How do you know that name? Your PR person called me. Wanted to discuss NDAs and optics. Mentioned your ex-fiancé who tried to sell your story. Catan's jaw clenched. Victoria had no right. But she wasn't wrong, was she? Jael's voice climbed. You were engaged. You used her to get to her father's company. She called you out, and you made it go away. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? She was shouting now. Because from where I'm standing, I'm just the latest version. The pediatric therapist who checks all the boxes for your mother's foundation. That's not fair. Fair? Jael laughed bitterly. You want to talk about fair? You orchestrated our meeting. Researched me. Brought me to your mother. And never once mentioned you have a history of using women for your agenda. I loved Rebecca. His words were steel. I proposed because I thought I could make it work. Her father's company was irrelevant. But convenient. Yes. His honesty cut. It was convenient. And when she realized I'd always put my work first, she left. She had every right to. And me? Jael's voice broke. What am I to you? Another convenient alignment of interests? Catan crossed the room in 3 strides. Grabbed her shoulders. You're the first person in 2 years who makes me want to put something before work. Before my mother's legacy. Before everything. I don't believe you. Then believe this. He pulled out his phone. Showed her an email. I turned down the merger. The one that would have funded the foundation for the next decade. I turned it down because the company has ties to pharmaceutical price gouging, and you once mentioned how that destroys families. Jael stared at the screen. The email was dated this morning. Subject line, Forrester merger terminated. You tanked a $1 billion deal because of something I said in passing? I tanked it because you were right. His hands shook. And because I'd rather have you respect me than have the money. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. I can't do this. She pulled away. I can't be the reason you make decisions. I can't be responsible for your choices. I'm not asking you to be. Yes, you are. Tears spilled over. Every time you change your life to accommodate what you think I want, you're making me responsible. And I can't carry that weight. Catan looked gutted. What are you saying? I'm saying I need space. Time to figure out if what we have is real or just 2 broken people trying to fix each other. Jael. Please go. He stood frozen. Then nodded once. Sharp. Final. If that's what you need. He walked to the door. Stopped with his hand on the knob. For what it's worth, you're nothing like Rebecca. She wanted my money. You'd burn it all to save 1 kid. He looked back. That's why I fell for you. The door closed. Jael collapsed on the couch. Hannah emerged from her room. You did the right thing, she said quietly. Then why does it feel like dying? The next week passed in gray numbness. Jael threw herself into work. Marcus learned to run on his prosthetic. A new patient, Sophia, started talking again after months of selective mutism. Small victories that usually filled Jael's heart felt hollow. Catan didn't call. Didn't text. Respected her space like she'd asked. It hurt worse than his constant presence. Ellen called on day 5. I heard what happened, she said without preamble. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be smart. Ellen's voice was weaker now. Thin. He made mistakes. So did you. Question is whether you'll let pride destroy something real. It's not pride. Jael's throat burned. It's self-preservation. Same thing, usually. Ellen coughed. I'm going into hospice next week. I'd like you there. Not for Catan. For me. The request felt like a knife between ribs. I'll be there, Jael whispered. She showed up at the hospice facility with flowers and terror. Ellen was in a corner room overlooking a garden. Catan sat beside her bed, holding her hand, looking like he hadn't slept in days. He stood when Jael entered. I'll give you space, he said. Stay, Ellen ordered. Both of you. They sat on opposite sides of the bed. Ellen looked between them, expression unreadable. I'm dying, she said. Let's skip the pretense. Jael's eyes burned. Catan said nothing. And I'm leaving this world knowing I raised a son who loves with his whole heart, even when it terrifies him. Ellen squeezed Catan's hand. And I'm leaving knowing I met a woman strong enough to call him on his demons. Mom. Catan's voice broke. Let me finish. Ellen turned to Jael. He'll screw up. Make choices you don't understand. Prioritize wrong. But he'll always fight for what matters. I know, Jael whispered. Then stop punishing him for trying. The words hung in sterile air. Ellen closed her eyes. Now get out. Both of you. I need sleep. They stood in the hallway. Awkward. Raw. Coffee? Catan asked. Tea, Jael corrected. His smile was ghost-thin. Right. They sat in the hospice cafeteria. Awful fluorescent lights. Worse coffee. The best conversation of Jael's life. I was engaged to Rebecca for 8 months, Catan said. I thought I could do it. The marriage. The normalcy. But I was building the company. My dad had just died. I was drowning and using her as a life raft. That's not love. No. He met her eyes. It's not. I realized that 3 weeks before the wedding. Called it off. She was furious. Rightfully so. And the company thing? Her father's board seat had nothing to do with why I proposed. But it looked bad. I know that. He leaned forward. With you, Jael, everything is different. I'm not drowning. I'm choosing. Choosing to be terrified. Choosing to screw up. Choosing you. Jael's hands shook around her mug. I'm scared. Me too. Your mom doesn't have much time. Weeks. Maybe. And after she's gone, you'll be grieving. Making decisions from that place. I can't be your crutch through it. I'm not asking you to be. His hand covered hers. I'm asking you to be my partner. The person who tells me when I'm being an idiot. Who challenges me. Who sees me. I do see you, she whispered. That's the problem. Why is that a problem? Because I see someone I could love forever. And that terrifies me more than anything. Catan's breath caught. Could love? Or do love? The question hung between them. Jael looked at this brilliant, broken man. At the grief etched in his face. The hope flickering in his eyes. The truth she'd been running from for weeks. She admitted. I do love you. He kissed her across the cafeteria table. Desperate. Grateful. Real. When they broke apart, Jael was crying. I don't know how to do this, she said. How to love someone in crisis. One day at a time, he offered. That's a terrible plan. Got a better one? She almost laughed. No. They spent the next 2 weeks at Ellen's bedside, talking about everything and nothing. Ellen shared stories about Caton's father. About building the foundation from scratch. About the life she'd lived and the death she'd accepted. Don't waste time, she told them one afternoon. Life's too short for pride and fear. Caton held his mother's hand. Jael held his other hand. They were a chain of grief and hope and love too new to name. Ellen died on a Tuesday morning. Peaceful. Surrounded by family. Caton was with her at the end. Jael waited in the hallway. When he emerged, his face was devastated. Empty. She caught him as he collapsed. Held him while he broke apart. Whispered the same words he'd said to her weeks ago. I'm here. Always. The funeral was massive. Politicians. Business leaders. Hundreds whose lives Ellen had touched. Caton delivered the eulogy with a steady voice and shaking hands. She taught me that wealth means nothing without purpose, he said. That legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's who carries your work forward. His eyes found Jael in the crowd. And she taught me that love is choosing someone every single day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Jael's vision blurred. After the service, after the reception, after everyone had offered their condolences and left, Caton found Jael on the penthouse balcony. She left something for you, he said. He handed her an envelope. Ellen's handwriting on the front, for Jael, who showed my son what love looks like. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Join the board. Not for Caton. For the kids who need someone like you. For the legacy that deserves your fire. For yourself. The position is yours if you want it. No pressure. No expectations. Just opportunity. Love and admiration, Ellen. Jael read it 3 times. Then looked up at Caton. Did you know about this? No. But he smiled. Sad and proud. Sounds like her, though. It's what she wanted all along. Me on the board. No. Caton pulled Jael close. What she wanted was for you to choose it. Not because of me. Because of you. Jael folded the letter. Tucked it in her pocket. I need to think about it. Take all the time you need. They stood in the Manhattan night. The city glittering below. The future uncertain. The past heavy between them. What happens now? Jael asked. Now? Caton's arms tightened. Now we figure out how to live. Together or apart. But either way, we live. Jael buried her face in his chest. Felt his heart beating steady and strong. Together, she whispered. I choose together. But the universe had other plans. The next morning, Jael woke to 50 missed calls. All from Manhattan Memorial. Her supervisor's voice shook on the voicemail. Jael, it's Marcus. There's been an accident. He's in surgery. We need you here now. She was out the door in minutes. Caton following. They burst into the hospital to find Hannah waiting. Car accident, Hannah said. His foster parents. Drunk driver. Marcus was in the back seat. Massive internal injuries. Jael's world tilted. Where is he? Or for? It's bad, Jael. She ran. Caton caught her arm. You can't go in there. He's my patient. And you're too close. His voice gentled. Let them work. They waited for 6 hours. Jael paced. Catan made calls to get Marcus the best specialists. Hannah brought coffee no one drank. Finally, the surgeon emerged. He's stable. But the damage was extensive. His spine is compromised. Even with physical therapy, he may never walk again. Jael felt something inside her shatter. No. I'm sorry. She pushed past the surgeon. Into the recovery room. Marcus lay tiny in the hospital bed, machines beeping, face pale. She took his hand. Hey, superhero, she whispered. I'm here. His eyes fluttered open. Miss Jael? My legs don't work. I know, baby. But we'll figure it out. Together. Promise? Her heart broke clean in half. Promise. Catan watched from the doorway. Saw the woman he loved making impossible promises to a broken child. Saw the exact moment she stopped thinking about herself and threw everything into saving this one boy. And he realized what he had to do. What he'd always have to do. That night, back at his penthouse, he sat at his desk. Opened his laptop. And wrote the email that would change everything. To the board of Forrester Industries, effective immediately, I'm stepping down as CEO. Jael found out about Catan's resignation from a news alert on her phone. She was sitting beside Marcus's bed, helping him through breathing exercises, when the notification popped up, breaking, Catan Forrester steps down as CEO of Forrester Industries. Sources say personal reasons. Her blood went cold. She called him immediately. He answered on the first ring. You stepped down? No greeting. No preamble. Yes. Why? Silence stretched across the line. Because I watched you with Marcus, he finally said. And I realized I've been living half a life. Chasing my father's ghost. Building empires when I should be building something real. Catan, no. Her voice shook. You can't do this. It's already done. Undo it. I don't want to. She wanted to scream. Your mother just died. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in years. His voice was calm. Certain. The company will be fine. My second in command is brilliant. And I'll stay on the board. But day to day? I'm done. What will you do? I don't know yet. She heard the smile in his voice. Maybe get a dog trainer certification. Max still has terrible manners. This isn't funny. I'm not joking. The smile faded. Jael, I spent 10 years building something my father never got to see. And I'm proud of that work. But I'm tired. I'm 35 years old, and I've never taken a vacation. Never had a hobby. Never put myself first. So you're having a midlife crisis. Maybe. He laughed softly. Or maybe I'm finally growing up. Jael closed her eyes. Marcus stirred in his sleep beside her. We'll talk about this later, she said. I have to go. Okay. A pause. I love you. The words hit like lightning. You can't just say that now. Why not? It's true. Because. Her throat closed. Because it's not fair. Life isn't fair, Jael. But love is honest. She hung up before he could hear her crying. Hannah found her in the hospital chapel 20 minutes later. Want to talk about it? Hannah asked, sliding into the pew beside her. He quit his company. For me. That's romantic. It's insane. Jael's hands twisted in her lap. His mother just died. He's grieving. Making huge life decisions from trauma. Or maybe he's making them from clarity. Hannah's voice was gentle. Maybe watching his mother die taught him what matters. I don't want to be what matters. The words burst out. I don't want him rearranging his entire life because of me. That's not love. That's obsession. Is it? Hannah challenged. Or are you just scared that someone loves you enough to change? Jael stood abruptly. I need to check on Marcus. She fled before Hannah could push further. Marcus was awake when she returned. Attempting to move his legs. Failing. The frustration on his 7-year-old face destroyed her. Why won't they work? He asked, tears streaming. Because your spine got hurt, baby. But we're going to try everything to help you. Will I walk again? The question every therapist dreaded. I don't know, Jael said honestly. But I know you're strong. And I know we won't give up. Marcus nodded. Brave in the way children are when the world breaks them. Miss Jael? My foster parents died. The words were matter of fact. Delivered without understanding their weight. I know, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. Will I get new ones? Eventually, yes. Will they want me if I can't walk? Jael's heart shattered. She climbed onto the bed beside him. Pulled him close. Someone will want you. I promise. But the words felt hollow. She knew the statistics. Disabled kids in foster care aged out without families more often than not. That night, she made a decision. She called her supervisor. Her bank. A family court attorney she'd worked with before. By morning, she'd started the process to become Marcus's foster parent. She told Hannah first. Are you insane? Hannah asked, coffee halfway to her mouth. Probably. You work 60 hours a week. You live in a one-bedroom. You're dating a man going through a crisis. I know all that. And you still want to do this? I have to. Jael's voice didn't waver. No one else will fight for him like I will. Hannah set down her coffee. Studied Jael's face. You really love that kid. More than I knew I could love anyone. What does Katan think? I haven't told him yet. Jael. I need to know I can do this alone first. Before I factor him into the equation. Hannah nodded slowly. Okay. But you have to tell him. Soon. Jael told him a week later. Over dinner at his penthouse. Max sprawled at their feet. The Manhattan skyline glittering beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. I'm fostering Marcus, she said between bites of pasta. Katan's fork froze halfway to his mouth. The boy from the accident? Yes. Jael. He set down his fork. That's a huge commitment. I know. He needs specialized care. Equipment. Ongoing therapy. I know that too. Katan leaned back. Studied her. You've already made up your mind. Yes. What about us? The question hung heavy. Jael met his eyes. What about us? I love you. I want a future with you. But I need to know if there's room for me in this picture you're painting. Is there room in yours? She countered. You quit your job. You're reinventing your life. Where does a woman with a disabled foster son fit into that? Everywhere. His answer was immediate. He fits everywhere. Tears blurred Jael's vision. You don't mean that. I do. Katan came around the table. Knelt in front of her. Jael, I fell in love with you watching you save kids. Did you think I'd suddenly have a problem with you actually saving one? It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. His hands covered hers. You're becoming Marcus's mom. And if you'll let me, I'd like to help. Catan. I'm not asking you to marry me. Though his eyes said otherwise. I'm asking you to let me be part of this. Part of your life. Part of his life. You don't know what you're signing up for. Then teach me. She kissed him. Salt and hope and terror mingled between them. Okay, she whispered against his mouth. Okay. The next 3 months were chaos. Beautiful, exhausting chaos. Marcus moved into Jael's apartment. Catan paid for renovations to make it wheelchair accessible, despite Jael's protests. She let him because pride took too much energy when fighting insurance companies and social workers and her own doubts. Catan showed up every day. Helped with physical therapy sessions. Learned how to operate Marcus's wheelchair. Took them to movies and museums and parks. He was patient when Marcus had nightmares. Steady when Jael broke down from exhaustion. Present in ways she didn't know men could be. Why are you doing this? She asked him one night, after Marcus had finally fallen asleep. They were sitting on her tiny balcony. The city hummed below. Because I love you, Catan said simply. And because Marcus deserves someone who shows up. You're not obligated. No. He turned to face her. But I'm choosing to be here. Every single day. That's what love is. Choice. Jael leaned against him. Bone-tired. Grateful. I accepted the board position, she said quietly. At your mother's foundation. She felt him smile. Yeah. Yeah. Figured she was right. About doing it for me. Not you. She usually was right. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Catan spoke again. I want to adopt him. Jael's heart stopped. What? Not now. Not until you're ready. But eventually. I want to adopt Marcus with you. Catan. He needs a father. I need a purpose. We could be good for each other. Tears spilled over. You're serious. Completely. I need time. To make sure he's stable. To make sure we're stable. Take all the time you need. He kissed her temple. I'm not going anywhere. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans. The call came at 2 a.m. Marcus's caseworker. Voice tight with urgency. We found a biological relative. An aunt in California. She's filing for custody. Jael's world tilted. What? She just learned about the accident. Claims she didn't know Marcus was in foster care. She wants him back. No. The word was visceral. Desperate. She can't. She abandoned him. The courts favor biological family. You know that. Jael did know. Had known from the beginning. But she'd let herself hope anyway. Catan woke to find her sobbing on the couch. They're taking him, she managed through tears. His aunt. Blood relation. I'm going to lose him. He held her while she broke. While she raged against biology and bureaucracy and a system that didn't protect the right people. We'll fight, he said. I'll hire the best lawyers. We'll prove you're his family. It won't matter. Her voice was hollow. The courts always side with blood. Then we'll change the courts. She almost laughed. You can't change the entire legal system. Watch me. And he meant it. The next morning, Catan began making calls. To judges. Lawyers. Politicians who owed him favors. He burned through decades of accumulated goodwill fighting for a 7-year-old boy he'd known for 3 months. But power, Jael learned, had limits. The hearing was set for 2 weeks out. Marcus knew something was wrong. He stopped smiling. Stopped trying with his physical therapy. Are you sending me away? He asked Jael one night. Never. She held him close. I'm fighting to keep you. But what if you lose? The question had no good answer. Then I'll visit. As often as they let me. And I'll never stop being your Miss Jael. Promise? Promise. But promises, like hearts, were fragile things. The aunt arrived 3 days before the hearing. Catan had her investigated within hours. She's clean, he reported grimly. Steady job. Nice house. No record. The courts will love her. Even though she abandoned him. She claims she didn't know his mother had died. That family services never reached out. That's convenient. But possibly true. Jael wanted to scream. The night before the hearing, she tucked Marcus into bed. Read him his favorite story. Memorized the weight of him in her arms. I love you, she whispered. No matter what happens tomorrow. Love you too, Miss Jael. He fell asleep holding her hand. In the living room, Catan was on the phone with his attorney. The conversation wasn't going well. There has to be something, he was saying. Some precedent. Some angle. Jael listened to him fight. This brilliant man using every weapon in his arsenal. And knowing it wouldn't be enough. When he hung up, she crossed to him. It's over, isn't it? He pulled her close. I'm sorry. You tried. That's more than anyone else would have done. I should have done more. You did everything. They stood wrapped in each other. Preparing for the loss they couldn't prevent. The hearing was brutal. Clinical. The aunt testified about family bonds and biological ties. Her lawyer painted Jael as well-meaning but temporary. A placeholder until real family could be found. Jael testified about Marcus's progress. His trust. The home they'd built together. The judge listened impassively. Ms. King, he said finally. Your dedication is commendable. But this court must prioritize biological family when possible. Unless you can demonstrate that placement with the aunt would be harmful, my hands are tied. He's thriving with me, Jael argued. He's learning to walk again. He's healing. And he can continue that healing with his aunt. Who has family ties and cultural connection. The gavel fell. Marcus would leave in 2 weeks. Jael walked out of the courtroom in a daze. Catan caught her before she collapsed. I'm sorry, he kept saying. I'm so sorry. But sorry couldn't fix this. That night, Marcus asked the question she'd been dreading. Do I have to go? Yes, baby. Can't you stop them? I tried. We both tried. His face crumpled. But you're my mom. The words destroyed her. I know. I'll always be your mom in my heart. That's not enough. I know. He cried himself to sleep. Jael sat beside his bed until dawn. Memorizing his face. His breathing. The reality of him. Catan found her there in the morning. Come to bed, he said gently. I can't leave him. He'll still be here when you wake up. But for how much longer? The 2 weeks passed like seconds and centuries at once. They packed Marcus's things. Prepared him for the move. Answered his impossible questions. The aunt seemed kind. Genuine in her desire to know Marcus. But she wasn't Jael. Wasn't the woman who'd fought beside him through surgery and therapy and nightmares. The day Marcus left, Jael held him at the doorway. You're the bravest person I know, she told him. Will you visit? Every chance I get. Promise? Promise. The aunt led him away. Marcus looked back once. Twice. Then he was gone. Jael stood in the empty apartment. Marcus's wheelchair ramp still in place. His toys scattered on the floor. The ghost of him everywhere. She collapsed. Catan caught her. Held her while she shattered into pieces no glue could fix. "I can't do this," she sobbed. "I can't breathe without him." "I know. I know. What do we do now?" He had no answer. Because there was no answer. Loss didn't come with instructions. They grieved together. For the boy they'd lost. The family they'd almost been. The future stolen by biology and bureaucracy. And in the wreckage of that loss, something shifted. Catan looked at Jael one night, a month after Marcus left, and said the words that would change everything again. "Marry me." She stared at him. "What?" "Marry me. Not because of Marcus. Not because of grief. Because I love you. Because I want forever with you." "Catan. I know the timing is terrible. I know we're both broken. But broken people can build something whole together." Jael's heart was a battlefield. Want and fear and loss and hope warring for dominance. "I can't," she whispered. His face fell. "Why not?" "Because I don't trust myself right now. I don't trust that I'm choosing you for the right reasons." "What are the right reasons?" "I don't know." She was crying now. "But I need to figure that out before I can answer you." Catan nodded slowly. "Okay. Okay? I'll wait. However long it takes." He kissed her forehead. Stood. And walked out of her apartment. Jael sat in the silence he left behind. And wondered if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life. 3 months passed in muted colors. Jael threw herself into work at the hospital and the foundation board. She visited Marcus in California every other weekend. Watched him adjust to his new life. Heal in ways that didn't include her. His aunt was good to him. Patient. Loving. Everything Marcus deserved. It destroyed Jael anyway. Catan respected the space she'd asked for. He texted occasionally. Asked how she was. Never pushed. Never demanded. His restraint hurt worse than his presence. Hannah staged an intervention on a Friday night. Showed up with wine and anger. "You're killing yourself," Hannah said bluntly. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're existing. There's a difference." Jael sipped wine. Didn't argue. "He proposed to you." "I know. And you said no." "I said not yet." "What are you waiting for?" Hannah demanded. "Permission? A guarantee that it won't hurt?" "Love doesn't come with guarantees, Jael. I lost Marcus." The words cracked. "I can't lose someone else." "So you're losing Catan preemptively?" Hannah shook her head. "That's not protection. That's cowardice." The word landed like a slap. "Get out," Jael said quietly. "No. Hannah. You're my best friend. I'm not watching you self-destruct." Hannah leaned forward. "That man quit his company for you. Fought the legal system for a kid he barely knew. Asked you to spend forever with him. And you're throwing it away because you're scared." "I have a right to be scared." "You do. But you don't have the right to destroy something beautiful because fear is easier than hope." Hannah left. Jael sat alone in the apartment that still smelled like Marcus's shampoo and Catan's cologne. She pulled out her phone. Scrolled through texts she'd never sent. "I miss you. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this." Her finger hovered over send. Then she closed the messages. Because Hannah was right. Fear was easier. The call came 2 weeks later. Marcus's aunt. Voice tight. "He's asking for you," she said. "Won't eat. Barely sleeps. Just keeps saying he wants Miss Jael." Jael's heart lurched. "Is he okay? Physically?" "Yes. But emotionally?" A pause. "I think he's grieving. For you. For the life he had before. I'll be on the next flight." "Jael." The aunt's voice softened. "I'm not trying to replace you. I know what you mean to him." "Then why did you take him?" The question burst out. "Because he's my blood. My sister's son. And I thought I could give him a family." "He had a family." "I know." The aunt sounded exhausted. "I know that now." Jael landed in California 6 hours later. Catan had texted during the flight. "Heard about Marcus. Do you need me?" She stared at the message. At the simple question that felt anything but simple. Yes. He was waiting at the aunt's house when she arrived. Leaning against his rental car. Looking tired and beautiful and exactly like home. "You came," she said stupidly. "You said yes." His smile was tentative. First time in 3 months. Before she could respond, the front door opened. Marcus rolled out in his wheelchair. "Miss Jael." She ran to him. Dropped to her knees. Held him like oxygen. "Hey, superhero. I missed you so much." His words were muffled against her shoulder. "I missed you too." Catan hung back. Giving them space. But Marcus saw him. "Mr. Catan." The boy's face lit up. "You came too." Catan crossed the lawn. Crouched beside them both. "Course I did. We're a team, remember?" Marcus looked between them. "Are you guys still fighting?" "We're not fighting," Jael said gently. "Then why don't you live together anymore?" The question gutted her. "It's complicated, baby. Grown-ups always say that." Marcus's lower lip trembled. "But I think you're just scared." Out of the mouths of children. The aunt invited them in. Made coffee. Left them alone in the living room while Marcus showed them his new bedroom. "He's happy here," Jael observed quietly. "But not whole," Catan replied. "No." They watched Marcus roll between rooms. Chattering about school and therapy and his new friend down the street. "I was wrong," Jael said suddenly. Catan looked at her. "About us. About saying no. About thinking I could protect myself by pushing you away." "Jael. Let me finish." She turned to face him. "I love you. I've loved you since that day in the park when your stupid dog ruined my dress. And I've been so scared of losing you that I almost lost you anyway." Catan's eyes gleamed. "Almost? I'm saying yes." Her voice shook. "To the proposal. To forever. To whatever messy, complicated, beautiful life we can build together." He kissed her. Soft and certain and tasting like second chances. Marcus wheeled back into the room. "Are you guys kissing?" His nose wrinkled. "Gross." They laughed. The sound filling empty spaces. The aunt appeared in the doorway. "Can we talk? All of us?" They sat around the kitchen table. Marcus between Jael and Catan. The aunt across from them. "I've been thinking," the aunt began. "About what's best for Marcus. Not just biologically. But holistically." Jael's pulse quickened. "He's thriving academically here. Making friends. But he's not thriving emotionally." The aunt looked at Jael. "Because you're not here. And I can't fix that." "What are you saying?" Catan asked. I'm saying maybe there's a solution that works for everyone. She pulled out papers. Joint custody. Marcus splits time between California and New York. Gets the best of both worlds. Jael couldn't breathe. You'd do that? For him? Yes. The aunt smiled sadly. I want to be his family. But I'm not trying to erase you. You saved him. Fought for him. Loved him when no one else would. So did you, Jael said softly. By coming for him at all. They worked out details. Summers in California. School year in New York. Holidays split. Calls every night. It wasn't perfect. But it was possible. Marcus looked between the adults reshaping his world. So I get 2 homes, he asked. Yes, Jael confirmed. And you'll both be my family? Forever, the aunt promised. And Mr. Catan too? Catan's voice was thick. If you'll have me. Marcus grinned. Only if Max can visit. They laughed through tears. Made impossible promises. Started building a family that didn't fit any traditional mold. That night, after Marcus was asleep, Jael and Catan sat on the aunt's back porch. We're really doing this, Jael said. Getting married. Raising a kid across 2 states. Running a foundation. Terrifying, right? Completely. Want to back out? She looked at him. At this man who'd changed his entire life to match hers. Who'd fought for a child who wasn't his. Who'd waited 3 months for her to choose him. Not even a little bit. He pulled out a ring. Simple. Elegant. Perfect. 3rd time's the charm, he asked. You proposed 3 times? Coffee shop. Hospice cafeteria. Your apartment. This is technically 4. You're ridiculous. Is that a yes? That's a yes. He slid the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. They flew back to New York the next morning. Marcus between them on the plane. Chattering about his 2 bedrooms and 2 families and 1 very spoiled dog. You think this will work? Jael whispered to Catan while Marcus napped. I think love makes impossible things possible. That's really cheesy. You love it. She did. God help her, she did. They got married 6 months later. Small ceremony in Central Park. The spot where Max had tackled Jael. Where everything had started. Marcus was the ring bearer. Max was the best dog. Hannah cried through the entire thing. Ellen's photo sat in the front row. Watching her son promise forever to the woman who'd taught him what that meant. I love you, Catan said during his vows. For your strength. Your stubbornness. Your heart that's big enough to save everyone but yourself. I love you, Jael replied. For showing me that family isn't biology. It's choice. And I choose you. Every single day. They kissed while Marcus cheered and Max barked and Manhattan hummed around them. The reception was held at the Foundation building. Ellen's legacy surrounding them. Jael officially took her place on the board that night. Not as Catan's wife. As herself. She'd be proud, Catan murmured, watching Jael work the room. Of both of us, Jael corrected. Marcus tugged Catan's sleeve. When do I get to call you Dad? Catan's breath caught. You want to? If that's okay. That's more than okay. The adoption papers were filed the next month. Jael and Catan. Legal parents to a boy who'd survived more than most adults. They bought a house. Wheelchair accessible. Big enough for Marcus's equipment and Max's chaos and the life they were building. Some days were hard. Marcus had nightmares. Jael worked too much. Catan struggled with not being CEO. But they figured it out. One day at a time. One choice at a time. 2 years later, Jael stood in that same house, watching Catan teach Marcus to play chess while Max slept at their feet. Her phone buzzed. Text from Hannah, "Told you so." Jael smiled. Typed back, "Shut up." Catan looked up. "Everything okay?" "Everything's perfect." And it was. Not because it was easy. Not because it was simple. But because it was theirs. Marcus moved his pawn. "Checkmate." "That's not checkmate," Catan protested. "Is too. Is not." Jael laughed. Joined them at the table. Became part of the argument and the game and the beautiful, messy chaos of family. Outside, Manhattan glittered. Inside, 3 people who'd found each other against all odds built a life worth living. Sometimes the story doesn't end with happily ever after. Sometimes it ends with happy enough. With choosing each other. With showing up. With love being a verb instead of a noun. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that's better than any fairy tale. Jael looked at her husband. Her son. Her ridiculous dog. And knew exactly how lucky she was. The end.